This is the Realty Classroom Podcast, episode number 163. Turn chaos into an organized money machine. Are you a real estate agent with an entrepreneurial spirit who wants to turn your job into a business without sacrificing your lifestyle, but you just can't seem to find the right plan or any plan to help you get there? Well, then, hey, you are definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Realty Classroom and the host of this podcast. Now, to help you take immediate action to get started in the right direction if you're new to the business, or a better direction if you're already in it, I've created a free strategic plan for you over at freeagentgift.com. That's right. I took away all the pain and gave you a free plan that you can put your business up against if it already exists, or build it from there. Boy, I wish somebody had done this for me long ago. So please, freeagentgift.com, get your copy. And by the way, it's digital and it's lifetime access. We give away our best stuff for free here at the TRC, and so please take advantage of it. It's what I use every day for my own business. I am not a pontificator from a soapbox without doing it first every day. I run a mastermind of top producers. I run a brokerage, so this is all experiential, okay? It's what works. So turn chaos into an organized money machine. I always get a little cringy when I put a headline like that, but I need your attention. I would have called it sales machine because that's what I like to call it. At the core of my business at Griffin is what I build for myself to help me build a sales machine. And there are a lot of factors in there that really are relevant to any of my brand new agents. And I have a whole bunch of those as we expand across the country. So we try to teach them the basics. And here's the first point. Chaos, yes, he said it, chaos is the natural state that all business people enter into. Think about it. When you're a new agent and you go take the class at a local board and you learn all these new terms, it feels chaotic. You feel stressed out. In fact, we have over 130 people we've spoken to in the last 6 months alone who are interested in joining our company, but they have to go through this process. And they're living other lives, meaning they're already doing business, or they're at home with children, or whatever their circumstance might be. They already live in chaos. Now you throw in this chaotic feeling because they don't know what they don't know. So as they begin to think about a test, well, that cognitive distortion, that the test is some evil, empire ogre, that all of a sudden now that feels chaotic. And then they open up the book and the language feels chaotic. I get it. But it's just a fact of life that if we're interested in something, we're going to go into this realm of the unknown. That's where chaos reigns, as they say. And it's really just a natural state of the world. I mean, think about it. Anything that you're interested in, why do you pick up a book? Because the concept of what you're trying to read about, learn about, enter into, and I mean an academic style book or something that'll teach you methodology, it's chaos until you enter into it. So it's just a natural state of being. And on the other side is organization. So you have chaos and organization, these two major life forces that exist. I mean, think about the world as it exists before we get organized in societies and systems and cities and all the things that organize us. Chaos reigns, period. So the second point here is, but that unknown remains the place of the biggest opportunity. Think about that for a second. Think about let's take other businesses. You think in this digital age, one of the most amazing times that we live in, where all of these new style companies are really taking just new ideas and juxtaposing them or bringing them into and organizing old businesses. I mean, you think about what Amazon does, for example. Amazon does nothing more than deliver product to us. It's just how they do it. What tools do they use? So was business more chaotic in our olden pre-internet days? Sure, I suppose. It was certainly less transparent. It was certainly less consumer-facing. So you had all of these states of being that felt chaotic to the consumer. And so Amazon comes along and they bring organization to the consumer's front-facing user interface, for example. So you can go on, you can look at the product, you can read product reviews, you can order right there, you can see exactly how much it's going to be, and you can see exactly when it's going to come, and you know what it's like to be fulfilled by Amazon when you open up the mailbox. In fact, I did it today. There was a book in there for my son, and there it was, fulfillment. Boom, just like that. So you see, the unknown of the internet became a great opportunity for Bezos to organize what was a little bit more unorganized for the consumer, at least. I mean, I'm certain, going way back in time, I know Amazon and Bezos learned from a lot of the entrepreneurs of the past and how they fulfilled and how they delivered and how more chaotic it was because it was much more people-oriented and less technology, software, machine tools. Think about the crazy machine tools and the software that runs them these days. So what was even an organized old way of doing business, Sears and Roebuck, where they were known for delivery out into rural areas and they had amazing organized systems. So a lot of these modern businesses, they watched that, but then they took it to another level. So you see, we're always trying to organize more and more and more of the chaos that exists, even in organized businesses. Let that sink in for a second. Let's go to the next point before I lose you. See, organizing the pieces of the puzzle, okay? When you're organizing the pieces of the chaos puzzle, this is actually the act of proper business building. Think about that. When you come into the real estate business, for you, the pieces of the puzzle are all over the floor, but they're all there. We're not missing any pieces, meaning that there is a certain way that this business works, and you just don't know how it works I guess in general first, because you've never studied it. That's why you go to a brokerage hoping, I hope these people are going to teach me how the business works, and then I hope I'm going to learn how it works for me. Those would be the basic premises of what you're trying to organize. How does it work in general, and how do I fit into that? So you see, that's just chaos for you no matter what. Now at the Griffin, my brokerage, what I'm trying to do is always chunk that up into the easiest to understand system that's organized. I don't want more complex. It's complex enough. The intricacies of how I do certain things don't necessarily need to be taught to somebody whose brain is already fried by the potential chaos they see. I'll give you an example. If a new agent comes to me and said, I would love to do it, but I don't know if taking the test is for me. It's like, whoa. What are we even talking about the test yet for? Let's go back to, do you like to be of service to people in potentially one of the largest emotional and financial transactions of their lifetime? Does that interest you? Does the product, that's the product, by the way, that's service, but does the product that we're helping them get organized with, the home that they will sell or buy, does that interest you? So we start off with just this general interest of how that business works, because that's what you are. You are of service to somebody selling and buying real estate. And I'm going to keep it for residential real estate for the purposes of what I do. I'll stay in that lane. So that's what you have to understand is the puzzle that you're trying to learn how to do. And unfortunately, I think we have a lot of good education in the business, but it still seems chaotic to me. How does a class about X tie into the business as a holistic process? Do we really teach that to our agents? Do we really know? I know in my own personal experience, I took a lot of great classes at my local MLS and wherever else, but I never really saw the whole process. Nobody really sat me down and said, look, the MLS is really like the New York Stock Exchange. That's the marketplace. That's where we take these listings that we get from these sellers. We digitize them. Now we do. We digitize them. We put them in there with pictures, details. We offer a co-broke fee, and that's the marketplace. Nobody really ever sat me down and explained that because it's quite simple. It's a very simple business basic. So you see, I had to just go into these transactions and say, well, what do I do? Well, you get your business cards and you tell everybody in the business, okay, great. That's understandable. What do I tell them next? You see what I'm saying? It's such chaos because we simply don't ask ourselves, well, how does the business itself work? And then what am I supposed to do to make it work for me? So As you begin to ask better questions like this, and you have at least some semblance of a plan, that's why I say freeagentgift.com, freeagentgift.com, freeagentgift.com. I'll at least show you how the business works. There's an infographic there you can download. And in this Michael Gerber-esque E-Myth way, you can see the entrepreneurial strategic thoughts that have to take place, the management, the technical stuff that the salesperson does. It'll give you an idea of how the big chunks of the puzzle come together. Because that's the act of proper business building, to start with a strategic understanding in a simple way of how the business works. And that's the proper way to continue to build your business. So see, you have to ask or go to a brokerage or get a mentor who can tell you and explain to you globally how the business works and then where you should start. By the way, I wish somebody had said this to me. Danny, that's how it works. All the listings go into the MLS and they share them. So you need to become proficient very early and often at understanding how to secure one of those listings, multiple of those listings for yourself. Because you hear these weird quips in this business. Well, you've got a list to last. Okay, great. Why? How? There's some pretty big question marks after those two. Why? Because he or she that controls the inventory has a lot of buyer agent help. And by the way, I think a lot of you are overplaying how great your company is in what it does. On average, 87 to 88% of the time, every time I check, it's one brokerage to the next, no matter how big they are in every single deal. So stop overselling that we're not a great tight-knit group of people with a great efficient marketplace. We are. Do your homework yourself. That's a fact. So don't ever feel insecure about where you're at or what brokerage you're part of and what their resume is. Just learn that you need to serve the seller and the buyer with a plan. Get that down in your head. You have to have a plan. Why should that seller list with you the rookie versus somebody with this long resume? Because you have a plan. If you have one, you can compete with anybody from the first day you're in here because you might have a relationship. And as long as that person knows you have a plan on how the business of selling house really works. See, we let the tail wag the dog in this business. I'm going to go off on this a little bit, right? Because I'm going to show you why chaos reigns quickly. Because our perception is, I've got to do a lot of buyers. I've got to do a lot of rentals. That's the one I always hear in Boston. I'm going to do rentals first to get my feet wet. Why? That's a completely different business from listing a property. Why? Because you think that renter will eventually buy and then they'll eventually list with you. That's a slow boat, right? Learn what it takes to sell a house. Learn how to price a house properly by doing your own education of what actually sold, what actually that money bought. And don't be afraid of the companies, the digital companies that use algorithms, the big scary algorithms. They're not complicated. It's simple math. A little bit of relative analysis. I just take the sold prices, divide them by the assessed, and I can see what the variance is. And I can tell somebody, look at this is how I compare apples to oranges. The best property got 135% of its value because it was all buffed up. Look at the description. And the worst one didn't do anything and had a deferred maintenance. They sold at 96% of their assessment. So you're kind of average in the middle. So that suggests that maybe you'd be at 123% times your assessed value. Boom, I have a value. There's your algorithm, folks. Right? We're just so intimidated by what we appear to be chaos. But see, these companies like that have solved it in a very simple way. They went at the chaos as an opportunity, like I said, as an opportunity. And you think what they do is rocket science, when the truth is all the same data was in front of us all along. So you see, digital companies that are putting these pieces together, and they only have some of them. Some of them aren't even brokerages, and they're selling buyer leads back to the agents for catastrophic amounts of money. Mind-blowing. Other people are just discounters offering a discount, and they're not teaching their agents anything. Great, we're online, and we're great. It's a discount company dressed in some algorithm. So don't be so intimidated as a real estate agent by all of this, because you see these companies organizing some of the chaos puzzle and you assume you can't. You don't have the resources. You don't have the right... Okay? Because the last point here is chaos will always exist as an opportunity to constantly improve your organized competitive advantage. Look, I'm a big fan of teaching David to fight Goliath. I do it all the time. I tell my coaching students, pick a proverbial fight with somebody that's in your area, an individual agent, a small office, a big company. Pick a fight, proverbially, in your head. Say, what is it that they do that's so complicated that I couldn't do? And that's how you begin to look at organizing what you do. And you take it one client at a time. Take your time. You get a friend who gives you a chance, or a friend refers somebody who gives you a chance. Slow down. Educate those people on what it's really like to go through a sale, what it's really like to go through a buy process. And ask somebody, when you shadow somebody, what are you shadowing for? Do you know? You should shadow to see, well, where did you meet the buyer? What did you do next? What did you do next and next and next that led to a sale? And just take an inventory. Don't try to pick up on how they say what they say and all the scripting and the behavior and try to mimic something. You're not going to do that. Try to rather understand what the immutable laws are. That's what I did. So with my seller course and my buyer course, aka plans, that I teach my agents, the idea, and I still use to this day, look, here are the 7 immutable laws that you're going to go through, or the steps you're going to go through to sell your property. Here are 6 immutable laws, meaning immutable, unbreakable steps, and the order and the organization. It's stupid simple, and it's hiding right in your face. Figure that out first. And then you can get into the microeconomics of how you do those things. So, for example, how do you get somebody pre-approved? Who do you work with? What's the process? Once that's done, do you match up what that money they're about to spend actually bought? You see what I'm saying? You just start organizing things, and it's organized common sense. So let me go back over this, okay? You see, we always are whining about chaos. Before we get into the business, while we're into the business, while we're top producers trying to get out of the business to a certain extent, we just let it rain instead of seeing it for what it is, an opportunity to turn all of it into an organized money machine. And you do that by first recognizing that chaos is the natural state that all business people enter into. Secondly, that the unknown of chaos is the biggest opportunity. That's what you want, a puzzle to solve. Start doing some puzzles at home. Number 3, organizing the pieces of the chaos puzzle is actually the act of proper business building. That's what you're doing by organizing these pieces. And lastly, number 4, chaos will always exist as an opportunity to constantly improve your organized competitive advantage, because once you get it organized, new things cause chaos. And those are additional challenges to keep refining, keep evolving, never stay flat-footed. Let me summarize it this way. As business people engage in the business of real estate, we're naturally born into the state of the unknown, which we refer to as chaos. Although the term might incite a negative emotional response, the truth is that chaos is the real opportunity, calling for you to figure out how to put its pieces in the right organized order, and by doing so, gain a competitive advantage. All right, I'm going to say it again now. Remember, you can take immediate action to start moving out of the chaos into the organized by getting a copy of our free agent plan that's waiting for you at freeagentgift.com. And what that does, there are 2 things in there. One is a global infographic. It looks like the Greek Parthenon. I used Michael Gerber's framework for understanding the strategies that are behind the entrepreneurial mind, the management mind, and the technician mind. And I really gave you a 1-pager on how the business really works. So I help answer that question for you. Then in there's an agent plan that breaks down the pieces of the puzzle that you'll have to deal with. These are immutable laws that we all deal with. Number 1, setting you up as a business entity, for example, right? There are other parts in there that deal with database. And then now I'm doing a series right now about communicating through that database, the proper communication, how you change it up. It's a plan. And those are the things we all have to deal with. So how the business works, and then a plan to begin to how to do it, right? Or what to do, I should say. Now, don't forget, you can subscribe to this podcast, of course, on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen. We'd also love to hear from you. So, hey, you can comment anytime you want. We're looking for your comments. But if not, we're going to keep on just giving you the help, giving it away for free. This is our best stuff. It is. I coach it every week. I do it every week. I'm tireless in this, and I'm trying to give it back to you. Please heed my advice. But remember, I sign off the same way every time. I appreciate that you're listening. I do. But I want to warn you, nobody is coming for you. Nobody. Not your broker, not your team leader, not the economy, not your parents, not your friends. Nobody is coming for you. So go get to work yourself on your own business plan, and I'll be in the next episode waiting for you, trying to provoke you to do just that. Thanks again.